Well, hello. Happy Tuesday, April 21st. I'll get the date right this time. How are you guys? On that little intro, when my image pops up and every time I think, oh, that's me live. And I literally start to talk and realize, no, that's in the little video promo. Gets me every time. Oh, goodness. Hi, William, tuning in from LA. I love it. Hi, Melissa from Placentia. Yes, Placentia, El Dorado High School, Tough Free Junior High, Brookhaven Elementary. Those were all of my schools in Placentia Unified School District in Southern California. Love it. Hi, Valerie. Tuning in for a bit, have to leave halfway. Well, there you go. Taping auditions is very important. So I say that. Hi, Allie from North Idaho. I love it. Good to see you again, Allie. Hi, Adam. You're so fun. Hi, Lori. Good to see you. So I'm so glad all of you guys are here. And as always, hi, Rod and Tara. As always, feel free to put any questions in the chat that you might have. But until we get into questions, I thought we might have a little fun tonight, play a little bit. First of all, I wanted to, hi, Teresa and Betty. Said I missed last week. I was on a plane coming back. All is good here, Betty. I'm glad you traveled safely. That's good. Hi, Casey. Good to see you. So I wanted to let you know I have not forgotten about the monologue challenge that I mentioned several weeks ago. I still am planning to do that, but I had a call today with my friends over at Casting Calls America, which is also the parent or company to Faith-Based Casting, and wanted to talk with them about the possibility of a sponsorship for that monologue contest in a way that we can facilitate the videos and all of that. So we're working on that, and I'll give you more details, because one of the challenges was going to be how to receive all the videos without it having to be like in my personal or professional Google Drives and things like that. And so we're working out some logistics. I am in conversation. I'll let you know more. I just wanted you to know I haven't forgotten about it. So I do fully plan to still do that, and hopefully within a few weeks can give you more details about that. So, but as I was thinking about that, hi, Megan and Alex. So good to see you. Hi, Alex. Hi, William. All of my coaching peeps. So good to see you. Katie, Lainey and I listened to last week's talk today in the car, and she asked if I'd tell you hi tonight. Yay, hi. Hi, Lainey. Oh, she's asleep. Of course, it's late. Can't wait to see you again at Focus. Yes, I will be at Focus in July in Nashville. Absolutely. Hi, Princess. Good to see you too. Catherine Brunel. Yeah, so glad you guys are here. So I was thinking about monologues because I was talking about the monologue challenge we want to do, because we want to do it on a regular basis. So wanted to set up some structure to it that would be easy for everyone to be a part of, and for us as the administrator side to facilitate it. So like I said, that's a work in progress, but not forgotten about. And so I was thinking about monologues, and I just, on a whim, now I have not used AI or ChatGPT or things like that myself much at all. I have gone in and explored a little, but I'm not someone who knows a ton about all of that, and I haven't really explored a whole lot. But I thought, you know what? Let's see what it does if I ask it to write me a monologue. So I'm going to tell you what the information that I asked AI. This is just like the Google AI, whatever it's called. And then I'm going to read you the monologue that it gave me back. Okay. So this is what I put into, this was my AI question. I said, write me a monologue. And this was inspired, actually. I don't think she's on here, but this, let's see if, let me check and see if she's on here. I don't think she is. Brooklyn Whitmore. So this was this monologue, this prompt to AI was inspired by Brooklyn Whitmore, who you guys may remember from last week, but officially today, she has officially moved to Nashville, and that is her new home. And so she's exploring it. And so I used that as my inspiration to prompt AI. So I said, write me a monologue about a 25-year-old female who is moving to Nashville and doesn't know anyone and feeling a little lost and questioning the decision. So here's the monologue. Stage direction says, oh, the scene, a small apartment filled with half-packed boxes. Clara, 25, sits on the floor holding a half-empty roll of packing tape. Now, mind you, this monologue was generated in 1 second, literally 1 second. She's staring at a Nashville magnet on her fridge. Clara, quietly to herself. Music City. Well, that's what the brochure says. Like the streets are just paved in guitar picks and everyone's waiting for you to harmonize. She rips a piece of tape. The sound is loud and jarring in the empty room. I told my mom I wanted an adventure. I told her staying here felt like wearing shoes that were 2 sizes too small. She did that thing, that, okay, honey, where her eyes say she's already picturing me moving back into my childhood bedroom in 6 months. The thing is, I'm starting to see it too. I don't know a single soul on Broadway. I don't even know where the grocery store is that doesn't charge $10 for a gallon of milk. I'm 25. I'm supposed to be finding myself, right? But what if I get there and I realize I didn't just leave my hometown? What if I left the only version of me that actually worked? She looks at a box labeled kitchen/fragile. I'm terrified that I'm going to be sitting in some neon lit bar surrounded by 1,000 people chasing the exact same dream, and I'm just going to be invisible. Just another girl with a suitcase and a feeling she can't quite name. A beat, she stands up, shaking it off, though her hand trembles slightly as she reaches for the next box. But I guess I bought the one-way ticket and the tape. I've spent $40 on packing tape. So I guess that means I'm going, even if I'm going as a stranger. Now, isn't that interesting? That popped up in 1 minute. I thought, while this would never replace, again, a real writer who could bring in nuances and layers and things, but as a base, if you were looking for, okay, I want a monologue for something, and here's what I'm thinking, as something to sort of get you started that you could then modify, I thought it was pretty interesting. And again, my prompt was, write me a monologue about a 25-year-old female who is moving to Nashville, doesn't know anyone, and feeling a little lost, questioning her decision. What does William say? Not a fan of talking to myself, would be stronger if talking to another character like her mom, but that's absolutely. So what's interesting about that, William, is that this generated, but you could then take that and change it to whatever you wanted. So you could change it to a conversation over coffee with the best friend that she's moving away from. You could change it to a conversation with her mom or her dad or her dog or, anything like that. But it provides the base for something that you could then take and modify. Because I don't disagree with you, William. It would be more challenging to just be talking to yourself. It's a little harder to kind of like connect with that reality of it. So it's just a way, to, I think, get inspiration and a way to give you a base that you could then go from. Hi, Ben. Welcome to the Anthem Collective family, Ben. DeAndre, use Raphy. It's a self-tape app with an AI reader that responds. Wow, that's interesting. Raphy, RAFY. I've never heard of it, but I'll have to look into that. That's a good thing to know because a lot of people are really stumped on how to get decent readers and solve that problem, that part of the self-tape problem. So that's great to know, DeAndre. Megan, it makes sense that it can write pretty well, it as in AI, as it does learn from actual good human writers. Right. Yeah, it's taking it. It's what's absolutely crazy to me is the speed with which it's generated. So Princess says you just found out about Raphy. So I'm going to have to look at that. Let's see. John, I use AI to write my scene for a demo reel. If anyone's interested, here's the scene. You guys, there's this Vimeo scene. If you want to check it out, that's awesome. I love that. Diego says, let's talk Tuesday. Welcome, Ben Matias, one of my newest clients for the Anthem Collective. Really talented. So he's one of Diego's newest clients, part of the Anthem Collective family. So glad to have you here. Let's see, Bethany. I've always been discouraged from performing my own monologues or changing lines. Yeah, theater experience coming through. The reasoning being that you're not working with existing material and bringing it to life, which is a different skill. How does this method differ from that? I guess I wouldn't draw as big a distinction between the skill it takes to bring your own monologue to life versus someone else's material. I mean, either way, you have to find connection points. I get it that it takes probably more craft and skill and experience to take material that you don't have any previous connection to and find those connection points and find those pieces that you can go deeper with and answer those questions. So I do get that part of the process that is different. But I think this is the situation where all I gave AI was 2 sentences. I still have to look at this or modify this. And you still have to find those connection points. So I don't think that it's one or the other, or one is good, one is bad. I think it's all useful. So yes, you still need to be able to take material you don't have any connection to previously, that you're not familiar with previously, and learn how to internalize it and bring a character to life. But I don't think it means you are doing any less work by taking something that you're kind of familiar with, or something like this where you've given a prompt. So yeah, I don't see as big a distinction, I think, between those two things, or a positive negative, Bethany, as maybe you may feel. And that's fine too. That's great. Everyone kind of has to go the path that makes sense to them. Hi, Karen from the coast of North Carolina. Love that. Betty would love to connect with Brooklyn. I'm new too as of February. I'll have to look her up. Yeah, Brooklyn just moved there, and there's a great community of actors, and there's several different kind of, I think, monthly or every other month kind of meetups of different people in the faith film space. So yeah, I would encourage you to do that. Let's see. Christopher, hello all. Good to be on tonight. Hello, Christopher. Good to see you. Catherine, thanks for mentioning that. I consistently have an issue with getting, yes, I'm glad. Rafi is what was mentioned. Rafi, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but that's what it looks like to me. Let's see. John Honey also used Rehearse Now with AI Reader, who listens and responds, even did a self-tape with it. It's a little odd at first. The AI Reader really jumps in. But John left a website link that you guys can take and explore if you want to learn more about that. I think that's great. Okay. Hi, Madeline Woods. Madeline is also a new Anthem Collective client. Also, welcome to the Anthem Collective family, Miss Madeline Woods. That's awesome. Glad you're here. Let's see. Kim. But as an actor, isn't it our job to connect and find ourselves in each piece we encounter? Yes, that is your job. That is your job. And some pieces are easier than others. I think that I think some pieces, it could be very close to maybe something you've experienced, or it's easier for you to find a way into the character. And then others, it's a little more esoteric. It's a little more removed from maybe your own personal experiences, life experiences, but you find other ways in and through. So yes, it is your job. And I think, like anything, some material will hit and connect more easily, and others will take a little more work. Okay, so the next, I'm just, you guys keep putting in your questions and your anything you want to know, and that's awesome. Let's see. Jacob, Christopher, I want to make sure I've seen everybody so far. Okay, so the next thing I put in was write me a dramatic monologue about a 50-year-old woman whose husband just died 2 weeks ago, and she is trying to decide if she will stay in their house or if she should move to her happy place by the ocean. So I wanted to give a little bit more complexity to the prompt, I guess, to see what it did. Okay, so the scene, a dimly lit living room. Elena, 50, is holding a heavy ceramic coffee mug with both hands. She is surrounded by stacks of mail and half-filled cardboard box. She looks at a chair that is clearly his. So I kind of picture in this one, she's picturing him. Now, William Viriato, to your note, this could easily be her talking to a daughter, talking to her best friend in their living room, and she's referencing the chair that he used to always sit in. So this is her dialogue. 2 weeks. They say the first 2 weeks are the blur, but I can see everything so clearly. I can see the indent in that cushion where you sat every single evening for 20 years. I can see the scratch on the floor from when we moved the piano. This house is a map of us. She takes a shaky breath, looking around the room. But that's the problem, isn't it? It's a map of us. And us ended on a Tuesday afternoon in a hospital hallway. Now it's just a museum. And I'm the tired curator, dusting memories that don't breathe anymore. She walks to the window, staring out at the driveway. I keep thinking about that little cottage in Salter's Point. You know, the one with the peeling blue shutters and the salt air that makes your hair go wild. You used to laugh at me when we visited. You'd say, Elena, you're a different person when you're near the water. I felt lighter. like the tide could just pull the heavy parts of me right out to the Atlantic. If I stay here, I'm loyal. I'm the grieving widow in the big house with the nice garden. I can keep your side of the bed made and wait for a ghost to show up. But if I go, if I take what's left of me to the coast, am I running away? Or am I finally running towards something? She looks back at the empty chair, her voice dropping to a whisper. I'm 50. I have decades left. Maybe. I don't know if I can spend them living inside a photograph. I think I need to go where the wind is loud enough to drown out the silence in this hallway. There you go. I thought, again, just an interesting take. There's, I just, in 1 second, based on that question. Okay, so then I asked for a comedic monologue. Said, write me a comedic monologue about a 35-year-old man who has to move back in with his parents after he loses his job and his wife leaves him. So this is supposed to be comedic. Karen, you're so cute. I love it. Okay, so this is Mark, 35-year-old man who has to move back in with his parents after he loses his job and his wife leaves him. The scene, a garage filled with high school trophies and boxes of old holiday decorations. Mark, 35, is trying to inflate a twin-sized air mattress with a manual foot pump. He is sweating and wearing a world's best husband t-shirt that clearly has a mustard stain. Mark, pumping rhythmically, slightly out of breath. And down goes the ego. At 30, I had a 401k. I had a wife who liked me, well, or at least tolerated me, and a lawn that I mowed with a riding mower. I was the king of the cul-de-sac. Now, king of the basement. My mother just asked me if I wanted my crust cut off on my PB&J. And then I said yes. I said yes, Mom, because at this point, I don't have the structural integrity to chew through the sourdough crust. He stops pumping and looks at the limp mattress. Sharon took the Vitamax, Dave. She took the high-speed blender and left me with the as-is food processor that smells like burning rubber every time you try to pulse a carrot. She said she needed the space to breathe. Well, guess what? I have space. I have the space between my dad's collection of vintage lawn ornaments and a box of my own 7th grade science fair projects. He kicks the air mattress. The HR guy told me when one door closes, another opens. He didn't mention that the new door would be a literal basement hatch that sticks when it's humid. I'm 35 years old, and my dad just told me there's a 10 o'clock curfew because my footsteps disrupt the rhythm of his CPAP machine. He looks at the pump, then at the ceiling. I'm an adult. I'm a professional. I once managed a team of 12 people. And now I'm negotiating for an extra 15 minutes of screen time before my mom turns off the Wi-Fi. He starts pumping again, faster and more aggressively. Fine, you want the crusts off? Give me the crusts off. But if she tries to lay out my clothes for tomorrow, I am drawing the line. Well, unless it's the good socks, the ones that don't have the holes. A man has to have some dignity. Here's the monologue. So anyway, I just find it really interesting. And so I wanted to have us create a prompt and see what it spits out for us. So anybody have an idea for a prompt, like a setting, a person, place, circumstance? Put it in the chat and let's create an idea that you want me to plug in, and we'll see what comes out of it, just for the heck of it. And it is so fast. And again, I am not talking about replacing human writers, because you could take that and totally tweak it and modify it. I love that just by saying comedic, that it really did, the tone and the lines. I agree with you, Jacob. I thought it was really fun, Kim. Some very witty lines. And in this one, William, it does sound like he's talking to his friend Dave, because at one point he says, Sharon took the Vitamix, Dave. So he's talking to his friend Dave. It didn't say that in the stage direction, but I think you could easily do. Okay, Madeline, girl finds out she has superpowers. Okay. How old is the girl? Anybody join in. How old is the girl that's going to find out she has superpowers? Anyone can put that in the chat. And then also tell me, she finds out she has superpowers, and then one little other detail, chime in. Okay. So we have two 16-year-old girls. So write me a monologue about a 16-year-old girl who just found out she has superpowers. Write me, and I'm going to say comedic, okay? Monologue. Who just found out she has, oh God, all these different ages. Okay. We'll use those in a second. Who just found out she has superpowers. Maybe she's real awkward. Communion about a very awkward shy. Okay. About a very awkward 16-year-old girl who just found out she has superpowers. Okay, let's see what that. So my prompt is write me a comedic monologue about a very awkward 16-year-old girl who just found out she has superpowers. Okay, I'm hitting send. It's there. That's how fast it came. Okay, so let's see what it gave us. The scene, a messy bedroom. Maya, 16, is wearing a hoodie with the strings pulled tight. She's staring in absolute horror at a toasted bagel that is currently hovering 3 feet off her desk. She is recording a video on her phone, which is propped up against a stack of textbooks. Maya. Okay, log entry 1, or the Chronicles of Maya's Impending Doom. She pokes at the air near the bagel. It zips 2 inches to the left. So remember how yesterday in gym I tripped over the 3-point line? Not the ball, the literal line, and everyone laughed. And I got so red I thought my ears were going to actually melt off. Well, apparently I didn't melt. I fermented or activated. I don't know the terminology. But I got home and I was reaching for the cream cheese, which, for the record, I'm barely trusted to use because I once dropped the knife and stuck it into the linoleum like a throwing star, and I sneezed. And the toaster flew like a V2 rocket style. It took out the spice rack. My mom thinks the cat did it. Our cat is 14 pounds and has arthritis. Mom, he's not a ninja. She leans into the camera whispering, I think I have telekinesis, which would be cool if I were like a sleek Marvel character with leather pants and a tragic backstory. But I'm Maya. I'm the girl who once got her braces stuck to a water fountain. If I can move things with my mind, I am going to accidentally decapitate someone with a flying hydro flask by Tuesday. The bagel suddenly drops onto her lap. She jumps and shrieks. See, I have zero calibration. I'm a high stakes hazard. What am I supposed to do? Go to the Avengers and be like, hey guys, I can move bread products when I'm stressed. Can I have a cape? She sighs, pulling her hood tighter. I just want to pass chemistry. I didn't want to be the chemistry. I accidentally levitate the PSATs and I'm literally moving to a cave. So, yeah, so there's our 16-year-old our awkward 16-year-old who just found out she has superpowers. Pretty crazy, right? Let's see. I liked the one about just learning to drive. Okay, but you said 16, but let's say, write me a comedic monologue about a 60-year-old woman just learning to drive for the first time. Okay, hitting send. And there it is. All right. Let's see. I wish I could have you guys read these. I don't have a way to do that because it's just on my computer, but maybe we'll be able to. Okay, Gloria. Oh, I didn't do the setting. Sorry. The scene, a parked car. Gloria, 60, is sitting bolt upright, her hands gripping the steering wheel at 10 and 2, so hard her knuckles are white. She's wearing driving gloves, the fancy leather kind with the holes, and a very determined floral scarf. Gloria, to an unseen, very nervous instructor in the passenger seat. So in this one, William, she is talking to someone. Don't you, okay, here we go. Don't you deep breath me, Kevin. I've been breathing for 6 decades without your supervision. I've done a magnificent job of it. Now show me the go stick again. She looks down at the gear shift like it's a live grenade. I know. It's the accelerator, but go stick has a certain propulsion to it. Look, for 40 years, Arthur drove. He drove to the Cape. He drove to the Piggly Wiggly. He even drove me to the end of the driveway to get the mail when it was drizzling. I was a professional passenger. I have a PhD in window gazing and suggesting scenic alternatives, alternate routes that he always ignored. But Arthur is currently playing Pinochle in the afterlife, and I'm tired of taking the bus with people who play TikToks out loud without headphones. It's uncivilized, Kevin. She gingerly taps the blinker. It starts clicking. Oh, did you hear that? It's ticking. Is it going to explode? Why is it so impatient? Click, 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 click. It sounds like my mother-in-law judging my pot roast. She glares at the side mirror. And what is this objects in mirror are closer than they appear nonsense? Why are they lying to me? Is this car or a house of mirrors at the state fair? I want the truth, Kevin. Is there a semi-truck behind me or not? I want to know exactly how much of its grill is about to become my new hat. She closes her eyes for a second, then snaps them open. Okay, I'm going to put it in D for destination or doom. We'll see which one the universe picks. She shifts the gear with a loud clunk. Hold on to your seatbelt, Kevin. I've spent 60 years being told where to go. Today, I am the one with the go stick. If we end up in a hydrangea bush, just remember, I'm a senior citizen. They can't arrest me if I look confused enough. There you go. So, okay. Well, I just wanted to have some fun. You may want to explore it a little bit. If you're looking for a monologue, take it and work your own things into it. It's the ghost stick. It's one of those things where we can either accept the technology that's coming our way and use it for good, or we can despise it and avoid it and kind of put our head in the sand. Now, I realize that is a challenge because there are some ethical and moral things that come with the whole world of AI and technology that is in front of us. These monologues are obviously fun and playful, and it is, I think, could be a very helpful tool. So I want, Madeline says, so can I admit ChatGPT helped me write my monologues I sent to Diego? Well, it worked. It got you rep. So DeAndre, I agree. I think it's an amazing tool. And I think it is all in the hands of the person who is using the tool. For Beverly Line LTT reading hour. I'll do the nighttime, the nighttime like sleep stories to try to put you to sleep. Diego's loving that you admitted the secret, Madeline. Adam, this is incredibly timely because just last night I was looking for some new monologues. No joke. There you go, Adam. Try to explore some things that you can kind of modify and make your own with some characters you've wanted to explore or try. That's another thing that I do like about this. When I'm talking to you guys always about doing monologues so for some of you, it's because you're still building your credits, and so you don't yet have footage from actual projects that you shot. So the next best thing is to do a really good, strong self-tape scene or monologue. And really, monologue is a scene. I want to mention that. A monologue is a scene. It's just you're not seeing the other person in the performance, but it is a scene. You have to remember anytime you're speaking, and this kind of goes back to what William said in the beginning of his preference of talking to someone rather than just talking to yourself. But either way, you have to figure out who you're talking to. Who is this dialogue with? Is it with God? Is it with an imaginary person? You know, who are you speaking to? That's a part of what you need to establish when you're preparing a monologue to perform it. So we say monologues, but they're scenes. They're just scenes where we don't necessarily see the other person, or the other person doesn't have any lines in the portion of the scene that you are performing. So Tara says, I tried ChatGPT to help me write a letter to a prospective investor. I dropped in my summary and logline. I was amazed with what it gave me. That's great. I can see that. Julio, I think the same thing. Technology is there. We might as well use it to our advantage, because if we don't, someone else will. And then we end up kind of behind the 8 ball on that. DeAndre, it's helping me build my faith-based monologue scenes. You just have to edit some areas on the faith-based side. That's true. And what I did really like about these initial monologues that it generated was that there wasn't any profanity. It tends to stay, because I gave it very family-friendly guidelines. It didn't go into any territories that were iffy or questionable, no language. And so it's nice to have that as a tool as well, for sure. Rod, I still use Grace's monologue book over the AI monologue. I don't disagree with you, and I will say it again. I've told you guys a lot about Grace Covington's monologue book, Clean Cuts, 100 Monologues. It's so witty. There's great characters in here. And again, a human wrote this. So, you know, she has insight to all kinds of subtle human nature type things and nuances that are going to set it apart as being human written. So yes, I still recommend you guys check out this book, Grace Covington. She's on here with us tonight, dear Grace. Clean Cuts, 100 Monologues, comedic and dramatic. So I highly recommend that book for sure. Let's see. Let's see. I used AI for the first time on a scene that I've been working on with one of my acting coaches. Really amazing. And like you said, our performance could add so much of the human element. Right. It really is a foundation. It's a beginning place to start, basically. And I think sometimes, because there are ways that these tools can be used negatively, or to kind of dabble in the darker side of some things like this, and to maybe use these tools for less than admirable endeavors. We want to kind of say, nope, I want to stay away from that. I don't want to be associated with that. But the problem is that the tool is out there. We need to be the ones who use those tools in a way that brings light, in a way that encourages people, or admissions, or helps us be better actors, helps us be better writers, in ways that, so that we then can be our best to excel and do the work, do the films, do the scripts, do the monologues, do the acting that counters the darkness, that brings light, that brings comedic encouragement and joy into the otherwise kind of messy landscape of culture and media and films and TV. So it's for a while, and I think still in some places there's that thinking of like Hollywood is bad. I don't hear it hardly at all anymore, that sort of blanket statement of Hollywood is bad. Although I think there are still some people who have that belief, but Hollywood is only bad if we let it be, meaning if we don't try to counter that and bring the good and bring the light and to use those tools for a positive advantage and to impact culture. If we want to just turn it over to the people who are going to do horror movies all day long and things that are not bringing light into the world or hope or faith or any of that, then it's our fault when the culture follows it, because make no mistake, media, film, TV impacts culture probably more profoundly than any other area of our society, in my opinion, especially younger generations, the newer generations. So that's why I think being familiar with these tools, knowing how to use them productively and positively, I think is what we want to do. We want to embrace that, and we want to be trained. We want to be skilled at what we do. And these new tools are a part of how we do that, is embracing those things. Using our gifts, Kim, for God's goodness and grace by shining his light in the dark. I agree, Barbara, absolutely. Lance, you can purchase Clean Cuts on Amazon. Yes, you can. It's available on Amazon. I think you just search. I believe you can. Now I just answered that, but now because I think I ordered off Amazon. But Grace, if you're still on here, let me know and just let us know how we can get your book. Or someone, if you guys don't mind looking up on Amazon and see if it's available on Amazon, because now that I'm just questioning it. Oh, yes, it's there. Christopher says, yes, it's there. Awesome. So yes, Lance, the answer is yes. So, while we were doing all of the fun and play, any other questions that you guys have been waiting to ask me, or that you have wanted to ask and I haven't gotten to? Adam got his copy on Amazon. That's awesome. Lance Nichols, it's time we have you back. Lance Nichols, you guys, he's based in New Orleans, and I don't know how to. I'm a girl from California, so I don't know how to say it absolutely correctly, but Lance is from New Orleans and New Orleans. He's from Southern Louisiana. That's what I'll say. Wonderful actor. I'm sure you've seen him. He was one of the stars of the Kingdom Story movie Woodlawn. He was in Mom's Night Out. And you have a movie coming out, like One in a Million, I think, maybe sometime soon. Been working on a couple of things. So Lance and Diego, I'm declaring now, maybe next week, or we'll find a week. If you're not available next week, we'll find another week to have Lance on, because I would love a couple of reasons I would love to have Lance on. First of all, he's just amazing and so talented and experienced. Second of all, he actually is an acting teacher himself. And so I'd love to give you the opportunity to ask him questions that to hear another perspective. And then also I'd love to talk with Lance specifically about the Louisiana market as an actor and what he's seen kind of change over the years and sort of the state of the union for Louisiana now. I many months ago talked about doing a series of where we highlight different marketplaces. And so I thought Lance could be the perfect person to kick off that, and starting with the Louisiana, New Orleans, Shreveport marketplace. Shameless plug, my faith-based film, Just One More, got picked up by Angel. That's awesome. I'm so glad for you. Well, we could talk about that if you'll come join us. So this is my official request, Lance, to have you come join us on Tuesday night in the next couple weeks. And you can just text me and let me know what week might work for you. That would be fantastic. And we'll talk about Just One More and any of the others that you want, and all the other things you want to discuss, and you guys can ask him questions. Let's see. Lance says, Lance is not only an excellent actor, but a true gentleman. He is. Lance is a class act. Absolutely is. Okay, Jonathan Swenson. When creating, I think you probably meant when creating a demo tape for film auditions, is it appropriate to use material from a live stage production, or should it only be film in the demo? I do multi-character, one-actor dramas, so most of the material that I use is monologue. If okay to use the stage material for the demo, is it better to use from an actual performance, or set up the camera and do it for the camera without the live audience? Okay, here's what I would tell you, that for a demo, for a film TV demo reel, or for your demo reel that you're going to post on a site that is primarily casting for film TV, I would not include that with other TV film or even like self-tape. I wouldn't include that together. I think you could make a reel, a separate reel, and label it as such, label it as, live performance or theater performance, and have it be its own tape. And it's something that we as casting directors, when we see your profile, we could choose to click on it. If you're in the, I don't know that you are, but like if you're in the place where you're still building your film TV repertoire and your demo reel, but you have a lot of stage type material, I may click on that just because I want to see what you look like, how you move, what you sound like, tone of your voice, and can you act? So the stage things can sometimes do that, but stage pieces, especially like one-man plays and things, can often be much more of a broad acting style. So just be careful about that. Be careful that it maybe isn't overly stagey, or doesn't go into like caricature type stuff. That's just harder. It might bring up a concern that maybe your acting style is a little more broad than is sometimes desired for TV film application. So just choose wisely when you say, if you're going to use it. So don't combine it. Don't combine live stage with your TV film stuff. But if you're going to do its own reel, it says, is it okay to use the stage material for the demo? Is it better to use an actual performance, or set up the camera and do it for the camera? Okay, so here's the thing. If it's a stage performance and you're going to perform it like a stage performance, you're better off to show the actual performance, because a stage performance that you then set up to be done in front of a camera is not, in my opinion, is not going to translate well for a TV film application, because it's just going to look like you're overacting for the camera if you perform it in the same style that you perform it for an audience. Okay. Now, if you take that same material and you modify it for an intimate conversation, if you, instead of performing for a live audience, you create a conversation with a few people and you are able to bring it down and perform it in a way that it's a more intimate setting, then it could work. That same material could work being filmed, but I don't think it's good to take something in which I'm thinking of people who do like some biblical characters and it's very powerful. But oftentimes, it's projecting out and it's a much more kind of an epic feel than it is a quiet conversation or a one-on-one conversation that would be more typical. It's not that in TV film we don't have scenes where you're talking to a large group of people, but even then you're not performing to the back of the room. You're performing for the camera that's right in front of you. So I would just be careful about just taking the same exact acting style that you use on stage for a live audience and using that same style and range for something you're going to do in front of a camera. I would modify it for the camera, or I would show the actual performance. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Allie, I'm signed up with Actors Access Casting Networks, but I've noticed one called casting.com. Do you know anything about it? I don't. And there are a lot of different sites, so I really don't. I don't know if anybody else on here is familiar with casting.com, but if you are, maybe you have insight for Allie about that website. I don't use it, so let me look it up. I don't know who runs it or who's yeah, I'm not familiar with it unless it's a rebrand of something that was like Casting Workbook or, some other site before, but I'm not familiar with it. And yeah, so if any of you guys are, then please give her your feedback. Betty says, my reps in the San Francisco Bay Area kind of use it. Okay. I was going to say it might be more of a regional kind of a tool casting platform. I don't know how widely used it would be, but you can look into it. My agent in Missouri moved us all onto casting.com, so I do use it. Great, John. That's great. So yeah, maybe I'm wondering if there have been a couple of other casting sites, and I'm kind of thinking that one of them rebranded to casting.com, but I'm not totally sure. So it does sound like it's legit. It would be a matter of if it's useful in your area. And if there's people posting on it, posting opportunities and jobs on it for your area. So at least we know, I think it launched when Casting Network started charging agents more. Okay. All right. That makes sense. Okay. Monica, are you still coaching? I live in New Orleans, pronounced Nolans by some people. I love it. I am still coaching. In fact, I was going to tell you guys, I have quite a few openings in, let's see, I'm going to pull up my schedule for you so I can tell you. Yeah, I have a lot of openings in May, and even some in the beginning of June. But a lot in a good amount of openings in May. So if you're interested in signing up and us coaching together, working together, May is a great time to do that because I have availability. And like I said, May into the beginning of June, I have availability. And then I'm going to, in the middle of June, I'm taking a vacation with my honey, and I'll be gone for a couple of weeks. But May into June is great. So just to let you know, and I've talked about it before, but on the coaching, we can work on material and work one-on-one acting wise on material, and we can look at your existing material, talk through that. We can look at your materials, make sure you're in the absolute best shape as far as your presentation, your package of things that go out, your website or your IMDb, your obviously any profiles on any of the casting websites, your demo reel, headshots, all of that. I had one where we were just talking about basically kind of next steps for her, and kind of where she's at, where she wants to go, and strategizing next steps there. So, Barbara, you were checking my May dates. Yay, that would be nice. So yeah, there's opportunities in May. I'd love to connect with you guys. Let's see, Maddie, when one is still building up a reel, aka me. I love it. When is it worth it to book a crew for filming mock film scenes with other actors versus using an okay quality camera, mic, etc. at home and kind of DIYing it, if that makes sense? It does make sense. So anytime you do it yourself with just you, it is going to look more like a self-tape, and it'll be more obvious that it's a self-tape, and that's fine. That can be useful for sure. I think what the idea of getting a crew, a film crew, or contracting with a service that does create scenes and film them for you with scene partners, is that can, if it's done right and done well, can look more like a piece from an actual filmed short. I mean, we won't know what it is, but it would look more like it came from a short film that you did, or an episode you did, or a film you did, an indie film you did, versus a self-tape. So it's really about it's really about that perception of it looking more like something that was actually filmed and was actually a project, a short film, a film, a TV episode, whatever. I think that I think that self-tapes initially are fine. I think the point at which, I've been saying this a lot lately with my coaching clients, which is, I use the phrase as resources allow. So do I think you need to immediately go out and hire a crew and spend money doing that? No, I think you can easily, for no money, do some things on your own that can at least get the ball rolling. And so that there's pieces of, there's video of you acting. We get a sense of who you are, a sense of your acting skill level, all of that, just by doing a self-tape. If you get to the point where you want to level it up and you have the resources to do that, then I think that's great. And I would do that with a good team of people, whether you create it yourself. I've seen actors who come together with other people they know and work together and pull together friends and write something that will serve all of them. And then everyone involved gets that piece that the director of photography gets to use it for their reel, and however many actors are in the scene get to use it for their reels. It's beneficial for everybody. Or you can go and hire a service that does that is part of what they do as a business, is create these scenes and monologues or scenes for filming and doing it on a professional looking level. But just as your resources allow, I think that when you're building a lot, you could spend your money and your resources in a bunch of different ways. And so I say, get something up, get a good self-tape up, a couple of them, couple of different, one comedic, one dramatic, one character that's right in your wheelhouse, maybe one that's a little bit of a stretch. Do that first. You can do that right away. There's nothing stopping you on that. To then turn around and spend the money right away on doing a filming of a scene, there may be other things that are more important and that will be of more value to you. So the order in which you allocate your resources is going to be individual to each one of you, because it could be that going to a conference or attending a conference is going to be a better use of your resources at that time than doing a filmed scene. Networking is important. Skill workshops, training, that's important. Maybe that's part of what can come from going to a conference. So I think it's just, yes, it would be great to do that. It'd be great to have that, but you're the one who can determine in what order and how to allocate those resources, because there's so many good things you could do that can make a difference for you in the long run. And that is one of them. Attending a conference, networking, all of that's another one of them. Taking a class or a workshop is another one of them. Redoing headshots, if that's something you need, that's another one of them. So when the resources don't allow you to do all those things at once, then you just prioritize. And the order in which you do those, I think, will really depend on each individual person. Like if your headshots are atrocious, then maybe that's the priority. But if you have headshots now that are decent, that you want to change but are currently decent, then the priority may be something else first, with the goal of eventually covering all of those tools and all of those things eventually. So, okay. So I am going to sign off for this week. I will be back next week, and one of these weeks we'll have Lance join us, because I'm already declaring it, Lance. We want to have you come back. And so we'll see what happens next week, who appears on camera. And thanks for playing with the AI monologue a bit. Have some fun if you choose to do that. Barbara, you're checking Maydags. That's all. Kim, meetings on Zoom. So all of the coaching is on Zoom. Jonathan, I get to see you in May. Awesome. That's great. Okay. So love you guys. And again, I just love how you continue to answer each other's questions and to chime in and to give each other information. Rafi, check out Rafi, which was recommended as an option for readers, and have some fun with creating some AI monologues, but they'll never be as good as Grace Covington's monologues in her book. So check out her book. You saw it, Clean Cuts, and you can find it on Amazon. So love you guys. Appreciate you. Have a really great week, and I will see you all next Tuesday. Bye.
Hey, I'm Bianca Bevis, and I love my coaching session with Beverly. I knew she would give me honest feedback on my materials from a level of industry excellence. And she did it in a super encouraging, kind way, as she does, like, hey, you're talented, let's make sure your materials reflect that. So really love that she was willing to just like be real a little bit about her life stuff. And so it kind of made me feel like she's a person, we're in this industry together, and allowed me to open up to. Also, can we talk about the fact that Beverly has freely given up her time in Let's Talk Tuesdays for forever, which to me puts her in a class of her own. So thank you so much, Beverly. We love you. Mwah!